We're supposed to have a green screen in the studio. Steve, what color is that screen?
Well, Jeff, that screen appears to be white.
What color is it supposed to be, Steve?
Oh, I got this somewhere in my notes. Hold on. It's supposed to be blue, right?
Kill yourself, Steve. What's going on, everybody? My name is Jeff Stevenson, and I am here with Steve Jefferson.
And welcome to Box News, the only news program that gets you squared away.
Our first story of the evening. Now, you see, in America, we have a constitution that is very rarely read by the people that actually need to read it. And in that constitution, it says you have the right to bear arms. But in Russia, you aren't bear. In the Siberian Taiga region of Russia, a brown bear decided to break into a hunter's cabin and walked off with a bag carrying 2 guns and food rations, turning the hunter into the hunted. Now, luckily for Russians, this is not an American bear, so the kids and family members should be safe. However, we should be very alarmed, because if this bear manages to come across Ninja Bear, you all remember that video, I'm sure, we could have an utter bear undertaking on our hands. And if these bears happen to get with other animals like pythons that eat adults and dolphins that get a little Harvey Weinstein in them, we can have a very big issue where it becomes hunting season all year round. Steve?
Thank you, Jeff. Now, tonight, I have a special sports story for all of you out there. Our usual sports correspondent is on vacation for 3 months. So here I am. This one comes to us from the NFL. And it's about everyone's favorite city, Cleveland, Ohio, and everyone's favorite NFL team, the Cleveland Browns. It all started last season when the Browns were feasibly en route to an 0-16 season. A fan by the name of Chris McNeil decided to start a GoFundMe page to raise around $3,000 to get a permit to host a 0-16 season parade through the streets of downtown Cleveland. Unfortunately for Mr. McNeil, the event was canceled because the Browns decided to randomly win the last game of the season against the equally as bad San Diego Chargers at the time. They were so bad they left the city and went to Los Angeles. Now, last year when Mr. McNeil did this, he raised over $10,000, more than triple what his original goal was to get the 0-16 parade in downtown Cleveland. Now, don't worry, the funds did go to a good cause. He donated the entire GoFundMe $10,000 to the Cleveland Food Bank. So, but that just shows if the Cleveland Browns won a game, the parade wasn't happening, and yet he still got people to donate over $10,000 to this thing. I wish I could make this up. So this year, he's at it again. The Cleveland Browns are 0-9, just like they were last year. And Mr. McNeil has gone ahead and started the GoFundMe page, and I believe he has already hit his goal. Not only that, he already applied for the permit. And according to his tweets, the city of Cleveland approved it almost immediately. Now, some of you might be wondering, especially some of you who aren't familiar with football or the Cleveland Browns fiasco, why does Cleveland deserve this kind? Why do the Browns front office deserve this kind of thing happening in their streets? You know, surely this is just a couple-year thing. It's a rebuilding season. Well, in Cleveland, it's been a rebuilding season for over a decade. So I believe this, I don't want to put words in Mr. McNeil's mouth, but I believe this is the best version of sarcasm I think I have ever seen in my entire life. It's a sarcastic protest. The front office of the Cleveland Browns is ran by chimpanzees. Example of this, just a month ago, around the NFL's trade deadline, the Browns attempted to acquire a quarterback named A.J. McCarron from the Bengals, arguably top 5, top 3 backup quarterbacks in the entire league, clearly ready to get his own starting job, and he would have had one on the Cleveland Browns. Now, tell me if this doesn't sound like a high school group trying to do a group project. They were celebrating, the Cleveland Browns front office was celebrating the fact that they signed were traded for AJ McCarron. And because they were celebrating, they forgot to make the call to finalize the deal. So they were celebrating something that they didn't even finish yet. There's a huge backlash from this. AJ McCarron went off on the Bengals for some reason when he really should have gone off on the Browns. The Browns front office is just a dumpster fire. If any organization in the NFL deserves this kind of sarcastic protest happening in their streets right outside their stadium, it is the Cleveland Browns. So, at the end of the day, I personally, Mr. McNeil, I would love to visit Cleveland, Ohio if this parade is happening, just because I think it is the most clever form of rebelling, protesting against your team that I've ever seen. I also think it's absolutely hilarious. So props to you, Mr. McNeil, and I hope the Browns go 0-16 because I really want to see this parade happen. Back to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Steve. And everyone at home, and you too, hold on to your ears, because it's about to get wordy. It's today's rant. Now, many gamers might be familiar with the game Fallout New Vegas, arguably one of the best games ever created. However, there's a new Vegas in the gaming circuit, and it goes by the moniker EA. That's right, EA Games. Voted the most hated video game company in existence in the entire world. Now, most gaming companies, producers, publishers, developers, what have you, would want to get out of this harrowing title. However, EA decided to go nay on that idea and doubled down. Now, EA is the developer of a sequel of a highly anticipated, highly disappointing game, Star Wars Battlefront 1, and created the sequel, Star Wars Battlefront 2. And I'll be honest, I was excited about the concept. New worlds, more eras, but most importantly, more heroes. And this is where Eastern Atlantic City decided to cash out. Now, originally, EA had a ludicrous amount of in-game currency that was needed to unlock just one of their heroes out of a very wide stable, spanning all three trilogies. Now, the issue that many players had with this was the measly reward system that EA had developed. You see, the credit reward system did not go along the same routes as Call of Duty and Rainbow Six Siege. Those games have a reward system based on your performance. However, EA didn't do that with this game. Instead, EA developed a time versus money reward system. The longer you played, the more credits you got. It didn't matter how you performed. The number one player on your team and the last person on your team got pretty much the same rewards. The issue was, at launch, there was discovered through time, through playing, through a wide range of very skilled players that did a lot of complex formulas, that discovered that it would require 400 hours of in-game time in order to unlock all the heroes. 70 hours just to unlock one hero. Now, I've played 3 playthroughs of a game called Skyrim. One of them was about as fully complete as you could possibly get, given the fact that Bethesda has more bugs than a Louisiana mosquito pit, and part of the fun of a Bethesda game is the fact you're finding all the glitches. And I still did not even touch 400 hours across all 3 of those playthroughs. Now, in response, EA decided to set their world on fire in such a blaze that California wildfires got jealous. In their response, they stated, the intent was to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking all the heroes. Now, I don't know about you, but a sense of pride and accomplishment to me is like getting laid after not having sex for 2 years. And I don't think this game is going to make me feel like I got laid after not having sex for 2 years. Now, a sense of pride and accomplishment is beating that final boss that you've been fighting with for a long time. Ganking bot lane and getting 3 kills. Having sex with Yennefer for the 3rd time in Witcher 3. Finally killing that 12-year-old kid that told me he banged my mom. Those are all a sense of pride and accomplishment. But EA decided to not only piss off me, but pissed off the entire Reddit world. Out of all the toxic plague that goes through Reddit, this comment actually became the most downvoted comment in Reddit history. That's right. Not only are they the most hated gaming company, they're now the most hated Reddit user as well. Now, the fallout from this is even worse than what you probably would have expected. Because the fallout from this even damaged other companies. Companies like Blizzard that use what's called a loot box system in their games. Overwatch, Heroes of the Storm, Call of Duty runs a similar one. But the biggest issue is that different countries, and including the state of Hawaii, have stated that their loot box system is gambling. How, you ask? Well, EA decided to combat this extreme hate they got from their Reddit post by reducing the cost of the heroes. Here's the problem. They also reduce your rewards, so you didn't save any time. And what they told people was, if you purchase our loot boxes and you receive gear or skins or heroes even that you already unlocked, you will receive a credit-based system to repay you for receiving gifts you already got. This caused a huge uproar. People were spending tons of dollars on loot boxes in order to hopefully gain credits back. The problem was, this is viewed as gambling through all these other countries. This rewards kids for begging their parents for money, and also creates an addictive issue, sort of like Vegas, sort of like gambling in Atlantic City. And this can become very toxic for the gaming community as a whole. And it creates multiple problems going forward. Loot boxes like Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm, they're fine. Because A, Heroes of the Storm was completely free to begin with. And I've only spent $20 of my own money on that game. And I feel like I would get more reward out of anything Battlefront 2 could offer me for $60. Second of all, Overwatch is strictly aesthetic. You don't actually gain anything for those loot boxes. These, you do. And I think there's an issue there. But I will defend EA on this one point. It's the parents' responsibility to make sure their kids are not doing anything like this. The parents own the credit cards. The parents own the debit cards. If your kid's spending your own money, that's your responsibility. And that's not the responsibility of these game developers. But I do believe it is a very slippery slope. And it's definitely going to change the gaming market from here on out. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the final segment of our show, the lightning round. That's right, everyone's favorite lightning round. Now, for those of y'all who are new to the show, the lightning round is where I'm going to read off a headline of a story that is an actual story, and me and Steve here are going to come up with a really fancy joke for it. You ready, Steve?
I'm always ready.
That was a really awkward handshake. Now, for the first story, property prices turn out to be lower on streets with silly names, high school students find.
Who doesn't want to live on the corner of Butt Street and Dick Drive?
I'll tell you right now, if a house opens up on Teddy and Bear Avenue, I'm game. Story number 2. Fast food sauce holders will finally be available in some cars, inventors say.
Gonna miss the challenge of carrying my fries, burger, and sauces in one hand.
I'm just happy I won't have to scoop my sauce out of my crotch. Story number 3. Cat named after notorious B.I.G. shot multiple times and survives.
Cursed from the day he was born.
Like B.I.G. himself once said, that's a hell of a pussy. Story number 4. Pedestrian hit moments after receiving reflector vest from police.
You know, incidentally, they put a sticky note on his back that said, "Hit me."
You know, kids, we have a game growing up. 1 point for adults, 2 for kids, 5 for elderly, and 100 points if you hit the guy with the target on his back. Story number 5. 2 people in Batmobile arrested on drug charges.
Now we know how Bruce Wayne did it.
I can't believe if we had invested in Bitcoin, it could have been us. And our final story of the evening. New York City has genetically distinct species of uptown and downtown rats.
Now, Jeff, I can't wait for the 3-faction rat war between uptown, downtown, and every human living in New York City.
And I can't wait to see their Ninja Turtles fight. And that, my friends, is the end of tonight's show. We hope you have a great day. And don't forget to come with us next time when we put in our bikinis and... Wait, did I say bikinis? I meant bathing suits.
Off camera. That's off camera. That's off.
Oh, off camera? Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. See you guys later.